Hello? Let's see, I have no idea if I'm live or not since I am doing this for the first time. Go live? Ah yes, looks like it's going. Ah yes, looks like it's going. Okay. Here I am going to be doing some work on the builders for Eco that are used to blend between different types of landscape, which is what I'm currently working on. And hopefully I'll be debugging and finishing that today. So yeah, I'm live streaming some Eco development in Unity and Maya, all the tools that I need to do to get the landscape blending properly. It's a feature we've been working on for a very long time, and I'm excited to get it in game for sure. Let's see here. Where was I? I should also link this stream out to you guys. So I will do that. Put this on Facebook. Yeah. I bet you guys can't wait to watch this. What am I streaming? No, it's not. It's Pro. I don't use that black dark skin. I can't see any text on that. It's like impossible. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, you just go into the edit preferences and you use the, the personal skin instead of the professional, because obviously colors are associated with those two concepts objectively. Let's see here. Okay, I should share this link on Facebook so that maybe somebody or other actually ends up watching this. Why am I? I can't seem to post on Facebook. It just has a giant play game. Yeah, I just like, I don't understand this. Play game. Hey. Nick, are you familiar with posting? I don't know why it's not letting me post anything on Facebook. Eco game. Those here. Usually. Well, it's taking a while to load now for some reason. I just have play game.
You've had
Oh, I've made tons of posts on Facebook,
yeah.
but
So
it's just like I don't.
change this up here, the down arrow. You should click on that.
Okay.
It should let you.
Write something. There it is. Starting a live stream of eco development on YouTube. I'll be talking about builders and hopefully finishing up our terrain blending system. Link. Publish. Alright. Okay, let's get back to work. So, I was just about to debug a few problems that I had encountered. And it was that the edge piece of the terrain was not getting its blending cutout meshes applied to it as we want to happen. So you'll sort of see everything that I'm talking about as I'm going along here. Block set and custom builders. Let's go to, there we go. So, it was on the edge cube. Now let's... Okay, so this is a builder. This is a list of rules that is how we basically make up all the blocks that are in eco. Every block has a builder, and what the builders do is they are a list of rules that look at what's next to the block and then assign a mesh accordingly. So it's kind of complicated to jump straight into what I'm doing right now, because what I'm doing right now is actually a builder layered on top of another builder. But basically, once you've selected a mesh, what we're going to be doing for the terrain is applying another mesh if there's a different terrain type adjacent to it. And that way, you will avoid hard lines in the terrain. So, like if I were to... Oh, sorry, I'm just going to be cheating a lot because I'm testing and trying to get stuff to work. So you'll notice, oh well, so this build actually does have a basic older version of the blending, but you can see how there's those curvy lines there. That's sort of a prototype version of what we're going to be doing and looking at today. But let's see, if I show you with some sand, that will show you better what I mean. So if I take the sand, put it here, oh, looks like it's doing with that too. Okay, let me just, get some dirt going on here. So if I take this sand, put in this dirt, you can see there's just a straight line here, all these straight lines. This is basically what I'm trying to get rid of right now. And each one of these blocks has rules for when it appears using a builder, and then basically this edge piece right here that's just got like boy, I wish I could kind of gesture at the screen, but I can't really. That's just going down on one side, and then the rest of it's something you're not going to see. Once that mesh is picked out, then we're going to do another layer of builders on top of that that go to each of the edges and apply a mesh that actually goes along that edge to blend into the terrain nearby. So what we're going to be doing right now is fixing this exact piece. Yeah, this transition right here is what I'm about to look at because it's broken in my actual editing build. So right now these pink strips are just where the meshes are going to be that are going to blend from that curved piece to the next curved piece that's right next to it. So for some reason this wasn't showing up for me in game, so we're going to look at why that might be. So I think, oh no, that's right. So first, let's actually look at the issue in the build that I'm working with here. Jog our memories. So I have my own server running as well as being connected to Marmot, where I've built myself this lovely house the other day. Oh, it looks like Rachel's been hard at work ruining my household with this terrible wooden walkway. This highlights one of the other transitions we're going to be working on, which is blending from terrain to built materials, which will hopefully go better than this in the future. So the whole wood builder has been completely redone, it's just not in the game yet. No, looks like she's been building a house over here too. And she's got some chairs on the roof, that's nice. And a nice big brown rug here, that's cool. Oil lamp, it looks nice. Let's put some tallow in that. There we go, that's much better. And okay. Back in Unity. Loading up my server. So, if you remember, these are the kind of transitions we're going to be adding. See if I can get rid of some of this stuff in the way here. These alpha cutouts. But what was happening earlier is this. So for some reason, oh, and that's the server ticking, turning the dirt back into grass. This is not blending, and we want to figure out why. So this looks like it's the grass block not applying the side blending meshes. Let's fly into the terrain here, make sure there's no other things being put in. Doesn't look like it. So we got to figure out why that mesh is not being applied to that edge cube. It's possible that that's the priority. Let's see here. First thing I'm going to do is go to the actual big builder. So this is the builder that controls all of the actual landscape. This is like the builder for the landscape. So all these different rules are all the different pieces that the landscape is composed of. And all these different conditions that you see represented by these boxes are when it basically, you know, the rules that it uses to determine that this mesh is what appears. So if we go to the edge cube here, there's also one with corners. This is the one that's not getting the blending on it. So this has two builders that are being appended to it to decorate it, to get those edge blends. And those are down here. I think you can see my mouse in the stream, right? Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so let's go check this out. That all seems fine. Okay. So, this is the case. Is Craig laughing at me over there? Maybe not. No, he's working on top secret projects over there. We don't want to talk about what Craig's doing. Let's look at why this case would not be met. There's terrain on top of it. There's terrain behind it. And at the same time, it should be a lower priority. So this might be a problem with the priority we've been setting up. Should be lower priority. What if we tried putting this at 11? Turn it up to 11. It's always the solution. There we go. Unity is getting not great performance. So what we're doing, in addition to setting up the blends between landscape types, is setting up a hierarchy of which pieces blend into which. This is weird. It's asking me for a password, which I don't think it has done in ages. Anyways, the priority system determines which landscape piece blends over which, so you can say grass blends over the top of dirt, sand blends over the top of dirt, but dirt blends over the top of rock, stuff like that, choosing which types of landscape blend over each other. So this immediately looks like it changed it so that dirt is now blending on top of grass rather than grass going on top of dirt, which ultimately we want grass to go on top of dirt. But it seems like the edge cases are working now, so that is strange. It might be a case of being confused by the priority. Here you can see more of the blending going on, like vertically, between the sand and the dirt and everything. And there's some stuff we've got to fix, like this piece being blended into the non-flat cube here, which is kind of weird. So right now everything also, you'll notice, has the same blending pattern of this grass texture, but this is something that every material is going to have its own texture, its own mask, basically. So sand will actually look like sand spilling over into the grass, and everything will have its own unique texture. Forest soil here will have its own unique texture, and so on and so forth. I'm just using the one for grass for everything right now, since we're still in the implementation phase of getting this feature set up. So if the priority system fixed it, then I'm going to look at setting that up differently. So the rules are all set to blend from, basically to apply a blending piece when that piece is a lower priority. And the grass was not applying it because the dirt was a higher priority than it was. So it's got blend priority 6. I set grass to 11 to crank it up. And that means that on the grass block, it should be seeing that on the grass block the dirt is a lower priority and applying the blend mesh to the grass block. And it should be on the dirt block, it sees that grass next to it is a higher priority and does not apply a blend mesh. So I think that might actually be broken. If we go to the edge cube, blend block, blend builder here, no, this one, Yeah, so it's set to lower priority in the rules here. If it is lower priority, if it is a terrain block, and if it is not the same type, then this mesh will appear, or basically then this rule will be valid and this mesh will appear. So I think that might actually be broken. Might be something I need to tell Eric about. Hey Eric! So I think... Eric! I have a bug that I'm telling you about. I think the priority is reversed. So when it's lower priority, it's like doing things that are higher priority and vice versa. So yeah, that might just check on that, and we'll have the person who has been helping me set this up is Eric. He's done the whole setup and programming for the entire builder system for Eco, and I was just yelling at him about that bug that hopefully he will check out. If I'm not crazy, then it exists and he'll fix it, and then this will work correctly with the priority. Let's see here. In the meantime, there are some other things that I could do to improve this system. Definitely those cases where it was blending into the block that was not a solid cube was a problem. So let's find the specific instance we want to fix, and then do that. Here, by the way, is all of the different cubes and the variations of the cubes that will have the blending meshes. So we've got, like, this is the cube we're looking at right now, this edge cube. And the texture that you're seeing on all these things, the garish colors, is a mask. And basically we have a shader that applies a different triplanar texture per mask. So the red texture has like the top of the grass, the blue has the sort of rims of dirt that go along the edges, and then the green texture is the triplanar texture that goes along the sides of cliffs and everything like that. And on this edge piece, there's basically you're just taking into account all the rotations, or not all the rotations, but all the different adjacent cubes that you might need to blend into. So the one we're looking at is just this case right here. It seems to be broken because of the priority. But we will instead, since that seems to be a problem in code and not with the system I'm setting up, at least it seems that way, we'll look at other things we can solve that are problematic with this system currently. So here's another one right off the bat. So this piece here should either be blended into from the top or from the bottom. Really, it should be from both. So this hopefully is not also just the priority, but I want to look at, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake. If I open the game with this terrain blocks thing, then they all reset their materials. But it looks like this three-sided cube piece is not blending down, which I don't believe it has rules for, nor is this fallback cube blending up, which it does have rules for. So we want to try and fix this on the fallback cube and see why it's not blending up. This is the fallback cube that has sides adjacent to it that are open. And look at that. Yeah, I have to revert some stuff in SVN now, since I messed this up for the billionth time. There we go. So. That's not right. We look at this builder for the fallback cube. Oh, you know, I bet I know why this is. Well, so the rule that should have been selected is, I believe, this one. Yeah, this is kind of hard to focus on. Hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, this is really hard to focus on, actually, while live streaming for this kind of really mundane problem, but maybe we can think of something more interesting to work on for this, because that case, so like one solution we could also look into is that I've been wondering if I'm going to have to add or not, is adding blending to the bottoms of all these cubes. So that would be like taking these kinds of pieces, applying them like that. Like doing something like that with the cubes. That would add a whole nother layer of complexity to the builders. So I'm hoping to avoid that. But I'm realizing the problem is going to be when you take a fallback cube and blend up to something like the three-sided cube or this edge cube. Where's that thing? Three-sided cube, here it is. This guy. This same mesh that I've been using to blend is not really going to work because it's not going to sit flat on that cube. That's, you know, blending into that. You can see this mesh is going to be kind of jutting out, and this is something that we're probably going to be dealing with a lot when we're setting this system up, and ultimately we're probably going to have cutout meshes that are more 3D and that do pop out and that are just double-sided so that you can actually see both sides of them. Because in a game engine, you know, you won't be able to see this side. It'll look like this from this side and this from this side. So it'll be this weird, like, one-sided thing. So that's a pretty easy fix, but it doubles the verts to do that, to see it from both sides. So we don't want to do that for no reason or everywhere. But this is a case where we will probably want to have a double-sided thing so that we don't have to rely on adding the blending to this cube. The other option would be to add it to this top cube already then. Yeah, the other option would be to add it there. If we did that, we could probably get away with doing it in one rule, but then you'd be putting these meshes on all the sides, which may or may not be visible, so you'd probably have to add new rules to see if this area adjacent to it was solid or not. Same with this side, and of course with this front side. So I think ideally we would just not worry about blending down this way, and instead put these on the fallback cubes and assume that we're going to have double-sided meshes so that they can just pop out and blend and not worry about adding tons of more logic to the builders, because right now the current fallback cube should already do this. It's got these pieces that are going up, you know, up along the sides here. And so basically with the vertical blending on cliffs and stuff like that, these are all the pieces that do that, and it's just the same set copied 4 times for each of the 4 directions. And we literally take a cube that's exposed on the side, go through this, go through that, go through this, and then go through that to make any of the sides that transition into another mesh blend properly. And so I'm trying to figure out why this dirt and sand are not, why that sand is not blending vertically to that dirt. And I can't quite see it in these custom builder rules, because there doesn't seem to be anything specifically wrong with them. So this is an inconsistency here that we've found with this one. I have to take this off my screen in order to actually look at it properly. So I'm adding a new rule here, not solid, so that it matches all the other ones. So let's take a screenshot of the exact case we're trying to fix here, because it seems like this should be a problem we can fix with the fallback cubes. And I hope that you are riveted. I see I've lost a few viewers. RIP. Oh, that's why it asked me for my password, because I'm logged in 2 places. I'll close that for now. Okay, so. Wow, now there's just no blending any— oh, yeah, okay, well, alright. Well, this will make it simpler, actually. So we can kind of reset the system here, because all we want to do is make this dirt block blend into that sand block. That's our quest. We're gonna embark upon this quest, my friends. And so we know— oh, I should have taken a screenshot of that. But it's pretty clear. It's open on 3 sides, and yeah. So this is from scratch, because I had to reset my terrain block set. Go to the grass block, and we can give it a priority. Or no, that we want to just work with the dirt and the sand, rather. So the dirt block, and we can give that a priority. So let's give that a priority of well, we can just keep it at 6, whatever it was. And right now the sand is at priority 5. So things blend onto the other things if their priority is higher than those things. So dirt should blend on top of sand. So dirt should blend into sand. Because its rules say apply this mesh if the nearby mesh is a lower priority, or if the nearby block, rather. And sand is a lower priority. So the dirt should blend on top of the sand. And it's not going to do that, though, unless we have the right material on it, and the set that actually is blending. So let's apply these just to these 2. Mesh, sand blending, save project. While we're here, I'm just going to take a look at the builder to make sure that the rule I think is being called in this instance is what's being called. So the one that it should be is down here. It's this rule. This is the rule that gets called when there's a fallback cube, but any of the sides are empty, because this rule has this apply rules to rotation checked. So this rule gets rotated around, and any time this block has a not solid next to it, it should apply this mesh. Unless there's something else that's getting called first. For instance, this one would also get called instead of this one, even if this one had an empty side, if its top were empty. But that's kind of a mutually exclusive case, because if this thing's top is empty and one of its side is empty also, then it should be one of these other cubes up here on the higher priority list. So definitely the one we're looking at should be this cube. And this is set to be to have these 4 vertical blending builders that we were just looking at. So this is the cube we want to blend upwards into the sand. And these are the builders we're using to do it. So let's double check that this is broken and look at the exact orientation of the block. Okay, so first off, it looks like that priority bug is getting to us as well, because the dirt is not, because the sand is blending into the dirt's not blending into the sand. This is very strange because, yeah, okay, sand is going on top of dirt right now. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. Reverse this priority because that system seems to be broken, but make sure that the vertical blending is still broken when we reverse the priority. Looks like he updated that, and now here I go again, starting my game with this selected again. Oh, look at that. So when we change the priority, it does blend vertically. Looks like I can sync git to get the fixes to that. So before I confuse myself any further, I will do that. And hopefully get the code fixed to this problem we were encountering. This is a part of the process that sometimes you think you're going insane, and then you realize it's not actually your fault or your problem. Nothing bad can happen. Updating all the stuff. Updated that. Restart the server. That's what we have to do. It's pretty quick. Okay. Let's just try this with dirt and sand again. This back at 6 and 5. Okay, let's try it again with fixed code. This is going very slow. Usually, over the course of today, I set up all these meshes and rehooked up all the rules for them. So the debugging goes a lot slower than the initial setup, for sure. That's just how it goes in the world of game development. Things go well, you get a whole brand new thing set up, and then you realize some little tiny thing is broken, and you spend as long as you spent working on the feature in the first place to fix the little thing. Okay, so right now, that's very strange. There's, So now in the theoretically correct code, we have dirt not going over the top. Oh, right, well, so what I set it to do now is for sands to go over dirt always, so that's different. So right now, this is actually a problem, assuming that that is dirt, which we will test out here. Yep, that's dirt. So right now, this is not so much a problem because this block will not blend into this, and it's going to be a different solution to get this dirt to blend with this sand if we want to keep the priority the same way. So given that, that's a matter of how we want to take care of these pieces that have empty spaces on the sides of them, blending into the solid pieces. So let's look at this case instead, because this is a more clear-cut case right here of this is sand, it should be blending over the top of this dirt according to the rules I just set up, but it's not. And these pieces at the same rotation are doing it on the tops and bottoms, but not on the sides. So I think what we might need to do with the fallback cube is set more explicit rules. Which means we'll need more rules, and they'll be more explicit. Because it seems like it's probably calling something else, which we can check. by looking at this in the scene view. The scene view. If Unity will let us. Yeah. Looks like we got a question of when the Steam release is, which we do not have a date currently, but we're definitely going to be doing it in Q1 2018. Come on now. Okay. Great. Let's look at the shaded wireframe to make sure there's no meshes showing up where we think that they are not. Well, this is interesting. It seems like this... Yeah, this one just straight up has no meshes appearing there at all. So that's a problem. It's a good question, Aditya. I do not know. I think it relies on the Wikipedia pages for things, which would, you know, be a conflict of interest for us ourselves to set up directly. So hopefully that will get fixed at some point soon, though. Come on, Unity. You can do it. I see Eric made it like a bingo card or something. Let's see, right now I don't think we have a public roadmap, but we certainly have one internally. And yeah. Oh, well. Equals, how did this happen? This might be, I think I'm finally actually finding something that might result in me fixing something. It's a miracle. This should definitely say terrain. This is really weird. I don't know that these rotations are actually working. Wow, this is like super boring, just debugging, trying to find if I didn't type these rules incorrectly, and I mean it looks like I did type them in just fine. So maybe for the last part of the stream I will look and talk about the building materials builders and improvements we've been making to those. So, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I can show you one thing. Well, I really want to fix it now is the problem. There we go. So I'm looking at what rule should get called for this block in the center. It's kind of highlighted, and it should be this rule right here, but it's not. However, let's make sure we're on the right builder, since there's one builder for each of the 4 sides. I think this is the right one here. Yeah, okay. So this is the right builder. This is not getting called because there's sand on the left and bottom. That makes sense. Same here with there being... Oh, well, that's not getting called because the bottom is not... This part is solid as opposed to not solid. This is not getting called because, again, this part's solid. This is not getting called. Not same type. Terrain. I don't see why this is not met. So let's make sure that dirt and grass are a lower priority than sand. It's the only thing I can think that's going wrong with that rule getting called. Dirt and grass. Come on, Unity, you can do it. Dirt and grass. Oh. Of course, this is now the same priority for some reason. I don't believe I ever set that to be the case, but I must have. Okay. Hopefully this works, or at least shows us what the real problem is. Okay, let's compare screenshots here. Now, yeah, so right now it appears to be working. Okay, so it was all the priority system as far as that one in the center. So it looks like the real problems we have are with the non-cube pieces blending into the cube pieces. Yeah, which is the case here too. So we either got to add blending coming down from these non-cube pieces to match with the fallbacks, which is probably going to be a whole nother slew of builders. Or, no, we can do it in one builder. Because the only other way to make this blend with this would be to say, oh, ignore priority in this case, which I don't think we want to do. So, yeah, we got to add another builder to every single piece. But it shouldn't be that complicated. It should be something that can be used for pretty much all these pieces. It'll just be to do. Look at this mesh. To do. Getting terrible performance. I think I need to stop running Unity. Come on. There. Will basically just be this. So let's make the new row for that. We will need 2 of them actually for blending these curved pieces down. So let's take one of those and one of these. We've got this established kind of set going here for choosing between any combination of something coming in from either of any of the 4 sides. So that's pretty easy to use for this one. Just copy it over. So this will be the pieces we need for that builder. And for this one, we just need, here we go. This one will be simpler. Oh, well, so the thing is this one you can't rotate. So even though there are fewer sides, there will have to be more rules, because you can't rotate the rules. I think that's all the ones we need though, right? Yeah. Probably. Okay. Combine all these meshes. give them a name like vertical bottom blending, is I guess what this would be called. So let's call them V-bottom. V-bottom 1. V-bottom across. V-bottom 3. V-bottom 2. V-bottom 4. This one we will call corner V corner B bottom 1. 1_2 2 corner 2 edge 2 edge 2 corner only 4. I've got these beautiful new sets that are going to become beautiful new builders, so that everything can blend towards the mesh, or towards the block that is below it as well. Not just, yeah, that'll be a whole other layer that's applied to pretty much everything. So, export this to a big group. Make a new folder called blend vertical bottom. Let's do this here. I want to make sure those all have the correct pivot points. Yep, looks good. Export them one more time for good luck, in case they didn't have freeze transforms. And the same thing with these. Only we'll put them in blend vertical bottom corner. Vertical corner bottom. Export. So, got these two new things set up. They're going to have their own brand new builders. Let's make a brand new builder. Well, a brand new blending builder. Lock set. And my hour of streaming is up, but I feel like it was going so slow. I might as well just show me making these builders and then call it. Let's see. Blend vertical bottom. So go create voxel engine custom builder. Name this custom builder vertical bottom blend underscore vertical bottom. Open this blank set of rules. So now we're going to need at least one rule for each of these meshes. Usually you do the ones with the most specificity first. So we'll drag them down kind of in reverse order. Put this over here. So this is all about the cube that's underneath the current cube, or everything that's going on below it. So that's this row here at the bottom. And we're going to say we know that this is not this type, because we want to blend to it, but it is this category, which is terrain, and that it is lower priority. So we just set up that rule, and this instance of having blend meshes on all sides would mean that all of these sides are visible. Otherwise we wouldn't want to put the blend mesh there. So that means we're going to have rules for not solid on all of these sides around this area. Not solid, not solid, not solid, not solid. And that's pretty much that. And we want this rule, well, we don't need this rule to rotate because the rotated thing would be the same as it already is, so we can uncheck that. Doesn't really matter. This is the one with, oh, I almost missed it. It has 3. Yeah, this is the 3. So once again, the thing below it is not this type. It is terrain. And it's lower priority, thus we want to blend to it. This side is not solid. Oop, that side is solid, excuse me. This side is not solid. This side is not solid. This side is not solid. The same thing here. Just across, so that's there. So let's set this up again. There's that one. This is the corner, I imagine. Yeah, 2. So these are all coming from the same premise of there's a block below this block that is not the same type, but that we do want to blend to. Oops. Low priority. Not solid. Not solid. Have my view rotated the wrong way here. There we go. That's more intuitive. Yeah, okay. Last one. Okay, so this is this builder, which theoretically, and we want all these ones to rotate, for sure. So theoretically we will just apply this to like pretty much everything. And we can test this as is right now without worrying about that corner one that we're going to do as well, since that's not the case we were looking at. So if we go to this, what we can do is we're pretty much going to want to apply this to everything. So find that one we just made. Blend vertical. No. Blend vertical bottom. That's what we want. So these are all the cubes in the landscape. And we're going to apply this new builder to all of them. Oh, and especially the solo cube, which previously didn't have any blending. And I was wondering if I was going to have to do that. And the answer is yes. Bottom. So I'm applying a new secondary builder to all these terrain pieces. Doop. Doop. So the one thing we don't want to do is apply this to the corners, because that will look weird. Let's just let's take it back off of these corner cube verticals, because that's the one we already know we're going to have to do with the other builder. Okay, back to doing this. And this is an example of a builder that's quite complex. You know, for modders who want to make like a new type of building, you can go way, way simpler than this. So if you're thinking about modding for eco, looking at this video, then don't worry, there will be ways to create new block types that are way, way, way less rules than this. But it's kind of cool that you can have the power to make them as complicated as you want, just about, and add all sorts of like decorations based on various conditions. That means you can really get unique block types and a unique look to different kinds of blocks in the game. Oops. So the ones we don't need to apply it to are these fallback cubes, since they already have the full vertical blending. Let's make sure we didn't totally break anything. Go bottom. Corner. Yeah, we'll have to... may not work for all the ones we've applied it to, but it should work in the instance we were looking at. So let's see if we've actually finally fixed that. Looks like this whole thing... Oh, did it get reset? I can't tell. Straight up. Moment of truth. So yeah, now these meshes, I just set up the builder for these meshes to apply to basically all of these. So this one on the corner, this one should blend now to the bottom, to this cube below it. And look at that, it does. Hooray! Alright, well that was a brief tour of the nightmare that I go through on a daily basis. Of the joys, I mean, of builders. And how it's a rather complicated, you know, group of rules that we have for our terrain, but it's a powerful system, it's very flexible, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with much, much simpler rule sets for different types of building materials. We've been reorganizing our building materials to come on now. Sorry, I'm distracted reading the questions now. Thanks, Magnus. Particular reason for choosing YouTube over Twitch? That's a good question. I think the main reason for our initial purposes is just that it archives it automatically, which I think we want to be doing. But yeah, I think once we get going more and more, we'll probably consider doing them on Twitch and just archiving them to be here as well. So yeah, yep, as you can see there's still funny things with this blending here, which it probably shouldn't do, but this will just be a matter of creating more rules to check to see if there's an empty space nearby, and that won't be hard to fix. But yeah, so now this sand is blending in with this dirt on all these angles, and eventually we will get it so that all cubes are blending into each other, and they'll all have their own unique cutouts. So let me show you the cutout texture real quick, just because that's... Well, I guess you can see it here. I mean, yeah, it's just this. I can just drag this over. This is like, you know, so this is the terrain mask. I was going to open Photoshop, but I don't really need to. This is the terrain mask that most of the cubes are done with, and then these are all the blending masks. So these are the little pieces that appear on the edge and have an alpha cut out. You can see this is just like the alpha channel is just black and white, so that they cut out and get overlaid over whatever block is next to them. So yeah, that's been your tour of builders and watching me laboriously try to fix a problem with a very complicated set of builders that thankfully yeah, is not that hard to understand as long as you're looking at one piece at a time. So yeah, we're excited to get this system up and running and have it for beta for sure. So cheers, guys. Have a good one. Now I will turn off my very first live stream somehow.